Hey guys, this is Jason with Ray of Light Tarot. I am here tonight with a very special friend and guest. Her name is Jai Gobind. You can call her Jai. Jai, what's your actual given name? It's Melissa, right?
Yeah, it's actually Laura Melissa.
Laura Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Melissa.
Most people
I
don't
don't
know
know.
that. Secret
I'm
information.
I'm not most people. So Jai is a really special friend and mentor. Has been a mentor to me, you guys, and I'm really excited to introduce you to her. Um, she, a lot of you ask, a lot of questions about my spiritual journey, about the twin flame journey. For those of you who are on similar journeys, soulmate journeys, and my spiritual awakening. After my awakening, I was definitely looking for answers, and the universe sent this very special lady into my life, and I'm so grateful for that. She was there for me at times when I really needed guidance, and I don't know what I would have done if she hadn't been there to sort of guide me and teach me what it means to be empathic and how to protect your energy and what to do with that gift. And you were very good about reminding me, and I want to in turn remind all of you that is a gift, to be empathic and intuitive, and it's important that we learn to use protect those gifts and use them properly. Anyway, Jai is here tonight to tell us a little bit about her spiritual journey, her what she does, her modalities, and in this world that we're all a part of, and a family. And I'm just really excited to talk to you, Jai. Thank you so much for letting me do this.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm actually really excited too. I have just recently begun my journey into the YouTube world. And because I'm mostly Scope, I always call it Scope. I go live on the app called Periscope. I don't know if you guys know about it or not. So I've been live streaming for a few years now, but recently decided that I want to delve into the YouTube world. I just want to address one little thing. If you guys see any kind of flickering with the camera, I apologize. We couldn't quite fix that right before we went live, but we'll fix it before the next time we go live again. But thank you guys for coming in. We've got some people coming in on the chat. Are you able to see the chat, Jason?
No, I don't see the chat. They'll take you how they can get you though, Jai. Trust me, she's worth the technical difficulties. And so Jai's channel on YouTube is Channel for Grace, 3 words, Channel for Grace, and she's definitely is a channel for grace. Jai is really gifted, you guys. The way that I came to know Jai was through the Periscope application. Prior to my spiritual awakening, I was already a live streamer on Periscope, and I think you were doing your intuitive readings along with, you were doing some sort of ceremony, and it was your singing that I was drawn to, Jai. Very gifted. And so she does that. You're doing music on YouTube as well, correct?
Yeah, so I've been posting for now just like cover songs because of all the I'm in the process of actually recording my album, and I've been told that the best thing to do is to copyright my songs before like putting them out there. So once I finish recording the new album, which is probably going to come out, my goal is by the end of March. And then I'll be able to like start posting stuff on YouTube from my own like personal songs. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Singing, I mean,
I just want to make.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make sure real quick before we get too deep into it. Jai, you can see the chat, correct?
I can see the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone able to hear and see? Is everything good? And no problems, right? No issues. I just want to make sure there's not any technical issues that really need to be addressed before we get into this, talking about Jai's journey and what she does.
We've got Joyce in here, Kim, Joan, Mar, Mike. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Joyce, for moderating too. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, we got some thumbs up. We got some yeses. Yes, all good. I can hear well. Yes.
Okay.
Can see. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Yeah,
awesome.
That's a good question.
Awesome. So what we're going to do, guys, definitely. So what we're going to do, guys, I'm going to ask Jai some questions just about her experience, things that I want to know that I've never even talked to her about since I've known her. And then she's going to, so you guys can get to know her and get familiarized yourselves with her channel. I definitely suggest subscribing to her channel. And then she's going to turn the tables on me and throw some questions at me that probably a lot of you guys asked me in the comments, and I just don't have the energy to go back and answer over and over. So it'll be a good chance to get some answers to your questions about me, you nosy people. Just kidding. I'm glad to talk about my spiritual experience as well. But let's start, Jai. So really, one of the things that I always wondered about that we've never really talked about, I've told you a lot about my spiritual awakening, But for you personally, what really, I just assumed you woke up to Zen one day, and you were the master that you were to me when I met you, and you
Oh
had
my
all the
God.
answers. But obviously that's not the case. It doesn't work that way. We're all on different levels of our journey. What was your awakening process like, if you don't mind sharing a little bit
Well, I would
about
love
that?
to. I would love to. So it's definitely been a journey. It's been, I think I woke up, meaning like when I was born. I feel like I was born into like the wrong family, because for the longest time when I was little, I felt like I didn't really belong. Like I felt so different. You know what I mean? I felt very different.
Yeah.
I was so sensitive. I was so empathic. I would cry a lot. Like one time my dad told me that, he thought I was the weaker one, because I have two siblings, an older sister and a younger brother. And he was like, I always thought that you were gonna have a really hard time in life because you were
Mm.
so sensitive, and you would cry, and all this stuff. And he's like, and now, like, years later, right, he's like, I see that you're actually the strongest. And
Wow.
yeah, that was like, oh, it just like touched my heart when he said that, because that's what I feel like I come to the realization of, is that the gifts of, sensitivity and empathy and intuition are really your strengths. They're
Hmm.
really my strengths.
That's
Yeah.
That is so true, Jai. It's so true, and I think it is. It takes a strong person to embrace those gifts. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
I was actually very weak for a long time, running from the gifts and trying to avoid them. And it does the things that I do differently now. Addressing my gifts, welcoming them in, trying to grow, and also I think you too. With relationships, it's easy to walk away from things instead of trying to make them work. And all of those things in one, you kind of learn being empathic is a gift and not a curse. You pointed that out to me quite a lot at the beginning. It is a
Mhm.
gift.
Mhm.
And to recognize that. I want to mention, you guys, for those of you who watch the Magic Playground broadcast that I've done with Chandra, this is her sister. Jai and Chandra are sisters. So those of you can make that connection. They're sisters, and two just really great, amazing people. So yeah, so that's so true. You are very strong. I think sometimes we don't recognize our own strength. People have to point it out in us. And I was so impressed when I came upon your Periscope broadcast with how intuitive you were when you did your Oracle readings or intuitive weekly readings. When did you start to recognize that you had that ability to sense? I don't know if you want to call it. I call it clairsentience.
Mhm.
That ability to just feel things, like walking into a
Mhm.
room, feel people's energy. When did you recognize that in yourself?
I think after I moved from, I think as a child I was just really afraid of everything, because everything was so intense and nobody really understood what was going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I moved towards wanting to discover my own unique path. I started after college. I was born in Argentina, grew up in like Southern California. We came to California when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And so I pretty much grew up in California, went to, elementary school, middle school, high school, and then to UCLA. And then there came a time where I was like, I feel like I've had enough of this LA vibe. And it was like there was too many people, and I just needed to like retreat into my own space. So I ended up moving to Boulder, Colorado, and that is when basically it's like, I mean, I don't know what was going on with my planets during that time, but I went through a crazy, like, sort of a shamanic death ritual. And then
Whoa.
I started doing yoga, and I remember going through, a period of my life where when I first came out here, because I'm still here now, like I haven't left since I came here to Boulder, Colorado. But basically, I went through this phase of my life where I realized all of the toxic energy that I had been carrying around my entire life, and it was so intense
Mm.
to not have all the distractions. LA was very like filled with distractions or after distractions. Like you never really get to the bottom of it. That was what I was experiencing there. And so when I finally came here, without all that distraction on the outside, I was forced to go within. And I started to see all of this crazy stuff. And that's when I started to notice, it's like, I'm just really sensitive. And I got into yoga because I was searching for some kind of spiritual path. Like I had no spiritual path. Like I was craving for it, but I didn't have it, and I didn't know where to find it. And I went to one yoga class, and I was like, oh my God, this is it, like I thought this is it, and I was like, so I got like almost addicted, to going to yoga classes and stuff. And I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot through yoga. I learned about your feelings and your emotions, and how those things are just as important as like the logical thinking and your mind. And I started to dive in deeper, and the thought, or the concept of healing first started to come into my life. So I think that's when I first started to become aware that what I was searching for the whole time was healing. And
I love that.
Self-discovery. Yeah.
I resonate with that so strong, Jai. And I think I'm going to point this out to all of us, that it's so important, because a lot of people will say to me when we're doing readings, when I mention healing, they'll go, and someone today just said that, how long do I have to be in healing mode? How long? Well, the thing is, something that's so special about healing, do you know your body's actually, that's what your body is designed to do. That's when it's at its best, when it's in healing mode. When your body is working to heal you, it is like the on switch, the switch is on. That's what the machine, the body, the machine that is the body, that's what it was designed to do, is to heal you. And so that's your body doing what you are living in it, what it's designed to do. So it's part of the whole process. Healing is, I just resonate with that so much right now with healing. And so think about spiritual healing. It's much the same. Your spirit came here to heal things. We are here to learn and to heal. And so I love that, Jai. I love that. That's so cool.
Well, your body is your temple. It like houses your essence, right? And we're all see that this is what I love about one of my favorite quotes from Yogi Bhajan, who's one of the many teachers I've had in my life. He said that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And in that sense, it's like we're learning, and we're like clearing karmic patterns from the past. But speaking of karma and healing, what I've come to realize, which is something that I think you finally get to a point when you keep trying to look at all the patterns in your life that are not going right, the patterns that you like hate, like the things that keep happening over and over, that keep repeating, the same theme keeps repeating itself. After a while, like what I've realized is that it's not really about stopping that cycle or ending that cycle, because it has so much momentum. It's like a theme that's been going for ages. And the way to actually heal from it is actually to step out of it. Like you can't heal it from the inside. Like you have to actually just step completely outside of it, which means you have to gain the bigger perspective. You have to allow yourself to see the bigger picture of you, your life, but not just you, other people, like humans as a whole, like the earth, the planet. So this is like huge, like perspective shift that I feel like I went through. And once I had that different perspective, it's like everything really started to change, because it's like you don't judge yourself anymore, right? It's like you allow yourself to go through whatever it is you're going through, and there's a deeper understanding of you like on this planet. And if you feel like you have a really strong purpose in your life, I mean I like go for it. You know what I mean? Like, because that's like that feeling that like keeps like trying to call you. It's like the call, and you have to answer the call if you're being called. And the longer that you hold back on answering that call, it's almost like the entrance into the new world's going to be, right? It's like you can manifest, because you're going to kind of go there anyways. It's almost like the Tower card. Like, do you want the Tower card or something else that's going to be a little less intense,
You want to do it this way or that way? You're doing it either way. You're going to do it.
Exactly.
So, I love that. Step outside of the cycle. Just step right outside of it. Something you always said to me, Jai said this to me many times, guys, when I was looking for guidance. She would say, you have to forgive yourself. Like that it sounds really easy to forgive yourself, right? Just like forgiving other people sounds really easy. It's kind of tricky though. It's kind of
It's
tricky.
very
And a
tricky,
big part
yeah.
of it is when you step outside of that, of these behaviors and these cycles, and you can look at it from sort of taking, like what Jai's talking about, what you're saying, that larger perspective, it becomes easier to forgive yourself, just like it becomes easier to forgive your parents for being human beings that are not perfect and much more than just your mom or your dad, right?
Well,
So, but
the
go ahead.
interesting thing about forgiveness is it's not about making making it making what happened to you right. Like it's like not, it's
Right.
not about making it okay. It's not about saying I forgive you and that means that what you did to me was okay. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
about that at all. It's about, like I said, just a deeper understanding. It's like
Mm-hmm.
about, it's actually more about compassion than anything else, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely about compassion. And you, that's one of the things that I was drawn to in you, was I saw that you were very compassionate, and also that you were very accepting of people's shortcomings and your own. You know, you could laugh them off. And so I want to mention some, we've talked about you. Jai's got a really great voice. When you started, I don't know if you always were musical, or if that's something that opened up. I know you definitely sing from the heart. You know the song I've written, for those of you who read my blog on my website. The blog I wrote about the song Hallelujah was after listening to Jai sing a cover of that song. That's where it touched me, was she sings from the heart. She connects to that space, to that pain spot, and it's really intense and it's really uplifting. Where did you get into that? When was it part of your spiritual awakening in Boulder that led you in really deeper into music, or were you already musical? And
I
where did it fall?
I remember being in Argentina and being like a little kid and like wanting to be a famous singer when I grew up. And I mean, I don't know, I must have been like 5 or something, and I knew these
Mm-hmm.
like adult songs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like the song I would sing, these like adults love songs or some shit like that. And it was like, you know, and I remember like pretending to have a microphone and stuff like that. And then when I got a little older, when I was in my teens, so like 13, I started taking singing lessons, because it's like it's like I naturally had like a singing voice that just needed to be like cultivated. And so I started to take singing lessons. And but here's what happened. It was like I loved to sing, but when I started to see that like I thought what I wanted was like to be like this famous singer or whatever, you know, like this ideal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what my voice I had the voice for. When I started to realize why I truly had the voice is when I started to actually, with my creativity, I was in this crazy difficult relationship, which it's like the whole relationship was kind of like the dark night of my soul. It was like diving
Mm-hmm.
deep into this like journey of like discovering myself truly, and then like going so deep into the underworld that like I literally had to like find my way back out. And that was when I started to be so creative. It was like that relationship ended. I met Dawn, who is like my partner, who we have like
Mm-hmm.
the best relationship. It's like night and day compared to my ex. And it was like the transition was so powerful for me. And then I have this gift of turning hardship into something meaningful. And the
Yes.
way that it happens is a lot of times it happens through my understanding of it. It's like the story that I end up telling about what happened in my life is like, oh my God, it just comes to this amazing, like, finished completion energy. And
Mm.
a lot of that creativity that is awakened in me when I go through difficult times comes out in the form of like poetry or songs. I also write. I mean, I'm actually writing a book. It's been taking me a long time to write it, but it's like I know that that's in me, and I just need to like keep writing. And so like
Oh yeah.
it's the expression of it's like the expression of like my inner deepest, like the lessons I've learned, and they come out like in my lyrics. Like
Mm.
and because they're so intimately connected, because I sing about stuff that actually happened to me. Like I sing about stuff that I have felt very deeply in my heart. And when I sing them, that energy is there. And so I think that's what people feel. You know what I mean? And
Oh
that's what I
yeah.
really
Your
feel that my
songs.
voice is about.
I think so many people that subscribe to my channel will just immediately resonate with some of the songs you've written about your spiritual journey, because I do mostly love readings, but people who are on a soulmate or twin flame journey, they get that dark night of the soul is an absolute
Yeah.
part of it. And so what you write about is so going to resonate for so many people. I can't think of the name of one of your songs, Love. I don't know. I can't remember the names of your songs, but I hope you guys will check out her channel. I don't know how many of them you've got up yet, or if
I
you
think
have
like
any of them up.
three or four, where I just
They're
just cover. They're
so
just
on
cover
point.
songs, but yeah.
No, I'm talking
Oh.
about the songs you wrote, Jai. Like,
Oh, okay. You can find those mostly on my
I
Periscope channel.
forgive, I
Yeah.
forgive,
Yeah.
and there's one with love in the title that's so amazing. Just some really good stuff. You guys will really get a lot from this. And yeah, like I said, Jai, you definitely sing from the heart. That song, we were just pinging each other because that song, Hallelujah, I've always loved that song. It's a great song, and the lyrics have very deep meaning. But when you sang it, that's when I was awakened to the awareness struck me of what it meant. I mean, somebody can sing the words, but until you feel them singing it, when you sang about a cold and broken hallelujah, I felt what a cold. I mean, think about it, guys. The word hallelujah means praise God, praise be to God. Basically, it was a word. It was the secret chord that David sang, King David sang to God, hallelujah, and it meant praise you. It was his way of praising God, and so when someone sings, it says that, love is not a victory march. It's a cold and broken hallelujah. That I connect to that. I resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
The same spot that's where the pain is the same spot the joy can come from. If you can accept that it happened for a reason, or that it's that you're going to that pain place because that's where the need is, the healing, and when the healing takes place. So there was just so much in that, wrapped up in that, and I pinged it, and I pinged off of your voice and wrote my blog about hallelujah. And then I remember reading the blog, and it got so much out of the blog, and you pinged off of my blog off of your voice. So it was really cool. That was a cool moment in time.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I loved that
yeah,
blog. Yeah.
It was really great. And so I just am really grateful. Jai came into my life at a time, like I said, where I was just coming into contact with my gifts. I had a relationship that came into my life at age 39, a really special friendship that just was like no other I'd ever experienced. We felt like we knew each other right away, and we were having very spiritual terms. It awoke me, and it made me stop running from things I had run from for a long time. And Jai was there at a time when I didn't know that I was having an anxiety attack because I was absorbing the energy of someone 5 feet away from me. I didn't understand that. And once I understood that, it scared me. I didn't know how to deal with that. So I was so grateful to have her as a touchstone, and you were there for me and gave me great guidance. And so I just want to say thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you've seen my journey, and how, like, it's been great probably to watch from the outside how my journey is it's been like that, like with my channel and stuff, how things have happened so quickly. But the slow stuff is the things that are even more special to me, the things that have happened on energetic levels that I maybe can't see until a relationship comes back full circle, and then you go, oh, that's why this happened, and that's what was happening behind the scenes. Those are the things that are really special to me. And I'm just really grateful to have had friends like you come into my life just to kind of keep lighting the way and reminding me that I'm doing the right things. And you're just amazing. I'm so glad to be able to share you with my people over here. And I want to know some more about you, because like I said, we've never really talked about some of these things. So if you don't mind, I want to talk about, I know I don't know if it was in LA or in Boulder where you started doing playing music at peyote ceremonies.
Boulder.
Where was Boulder?
Yeah.
I just want to hear about, what was that like? What was that experience like? I know a lot of people talk about in this world about, ayahuasca and smoking toad venom, things like that, to evoke a spiritual awakening or growth and get off of drugs, it's like therapy in a way. And you and I have talked about that. I'd just like to hear more about that from you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can tell you my experience of my very first peyote ceremony, and this was part of the beginning of my dark night of the soul. But
I think I know what story you're going to tell, if you want to tell that. I know. Is it about how you saw everything?
Yes. Well, no, it was okay. So the very first ceremony that I went to, I was invited by my friend here in Boulder. And I went to the ceremony, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was incredible. It was a ceremony that went all night. And so
Wow.
basically the peyote ceremony is like, they bring in the medicine, they bring in, there's a drum, there's a water drum, there's a staff, there's a rattle, there's the fire element, like all the four elements are there, they're present. And then, so it's like the fire element is literally in the fire that's in the center of the room or in the center of the teepee. If it's in a room, it's going to be in a little kettle, like an iron kettle, and they bring coals in the center, and they kind of throw cedar on it and stuff. But so there's the fire element, there's the earth element, because it's like we're on earth. There's the air element in actually the feathers that they use, like the feathers from different types of birds and stuff, and that's like sacred tools, right? And then yeah, so all the elements are present, and then the water is present. The water is like in the morning, there's a specific time for the water element to be prayed with. So just being in that kind of ceremony was a huge, like, eye-opening thing for me. In the morning, which is so the ceremony itself is like a microcosm of the macrocosm. It's like you going through so you get to a certain point around like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., where you're like, I am so tired. I don't need, well, what am I doing here? All your negative, like all your negative thought patterns start coming, and you're like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? I don't feel comfortable. Like, I feel like I want to throw up. You know what I mean? Like, I hate this feeling. Like, all this negativity comes up, and that's the representation of you, like your judgments, your fears, all of these parts of yourself, like the underworld, are like they show up. They show up, well, the judgment, right? And then you get to a point where the energy almost switches, and all of a sudden it goes from, I am totally not enjoying this, to like, oh my God, God is here with me. And so you enter into the, like, you see the other side, like you tap into like pure love. That's like, that's how I would describe the medicine of peyote. It's like you see everyone's heart, you feel everyone's heart, you feel everyone's good intentions, and you feel the love that really like permeates through everyone and everything. And it's so overwhelming. People sob, people cry. It's like so much release. It's like healing, like pure healing. Like, and in the morning, I remember when I went through that part of the ceremony, I felt my grandma's presence, and my grandma had passed away when I was 18 years old. And she was like a huge part of my life. She was like my guiding light. She would always, give me advice, and, like all grandmas, maybe not all grandmas, but at least for her, for me, that was it for me with her. She was like, I loved her so much. So it was a rough transition to go from having her to not having her in the physical realm. So when I felt her presence there, it was so powerful that I literally, like, it was like, that was it for me. It was like, I felt like I had found something that I was looking for like millions of years. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, oh my God. And so it's like, when I was like, I thought it was yoga, it wasn't yoga. You know what I mean? Then it became this, right? And this became, but what essentially, it's like you continue on the path, and essentially the ceremony became another learning experience for me. I actually, after that ceremony, that's where I met my ex. He's Native American. He was from the Pine Ridge Reservation. He was a roadman, which is like a chief in the ceremony. And so he would run ceremonies. We would run ceremonies together. We met each other. We got together, and for like 5 years, we ran like ceremony after ceremony after ceremony together. We gathered a whole community, and then at the end, the whole community fell apart. And the reason it fell apart is because the essence, so that energy that I was feeling in that moment, that love, was only there during that ceremony, and outside of ceremony, it was as if it turned off. And I wanted it to continue. I wanted it to continue in my daily life. Like, I wanted to bring the sacred into the everyday. I wanted to wake up like in a sacred space. I wanted to live my life in a sacred space every moment of every day. And because that wasn't there, when it was only there during ceremonies and it wasn't there after ceremonies. That is why I suffered so much in the relationship, because it was like this energy was not, it was like I thought this is what I was like marrying into in a way, but it really wasn't. It was kind of like an illusion. And so it was like the illusion, the ideal of what I wanted in someone that I thought was there really wasn't there. And so in the end, it was like we created something beautiful, but it fell apart because there was no foundation, right? It's like the leader has to have that like foundation of sacred within him or herself to be able to like truly hold space for people to heal. Right? And so I learned, you know, through all of that, it's like a lot of people come to ceremony because they want healing, right? A lot of people come because they need it and they feel like, you know, taking medicine or, you know, going through like this, it's really a transformation is really what's going to help them. But that what I just described is the perfect example of how the medicine is not really, the ceremony is not really what heals you, because you can be in ceremony and you can be, you know, in that sacred space and then you leave and you're still not healing yourself. The real work happens with you and you. It happens from the inside. And until you realize that, nothing that you take, nothing that you bring into your life, like from the outside, is going to heal you. And
thank you
that
so
was like,
much.
Yeah.
Yes, listen, Jai, you are
yeah.
pinging, like I'm hearing bells and whistles go off. Let me just say this. Bells, whistles, they're just ringing right now. You guys, for those of you who have gotten readings from me and, you know, we come back to it, I was just talking about this last night. And Jai, you and I kind of touched on this about how, like, when I do readings, I'll give people the guidance that comes through. But, you know, when you do this healing work, someone takes the guidance and runs with it. And I see people that get the message, they get it. They get the message and they run with it. They do the work and the results are amazing. And then there's people who you can't make somebody get the message. But I was telling somebody last night, it's a very similar thing for people who get readings. Tarot is healing energy work. It is. There is healing in it. However, if you're someone who has identified yourself as being on a twin flame journey and you've been awakened as the result of this connection in your life, it's awakened your spirit and you're now going through this transformation. And then you're getting the message from spirit through me, from spirit saying, you've got to turn this focus inward and stop worrying about this connection with this other person. You can't do anything about the connection. You're not going to fix it that way. You've got to turn the focus inward, do your spiritual work, raise your vibration, grow, find out how this has awakened you to your purpose and your path. And then someone will come back a month later and get a reading and they seem to be in the same place and they're just needing that high of getting, because the reading will show, yes, this is still your person. Like they're coming through, they're showing up and they're there. That they need that confirmation, because what's really going on is they're stuck in a cycle of the reading is the best they're getting spiritually now, because they're not doing the work. They're not actually doing the work. They're focusing on an end date or an end thing of reunion or something with a person. And that's not going to get you anywhere. The guidance that you have to take is the guidance about focusing inward and growing spiritually and getting on your path to your purpose. And you can't forget about another person. But guys, that's codependency. That stuff is the root of codependency. And even in a twin relationship, it's not necessarily codependence. I understand there's these weird energetic connections that you can't break or cut with a cord cutting ceremony. But the message Jai just talked about with the peyote ceremony applies in tarot as well. If you take the message, the results are amazing. If you take the message and really do the work, the results will be amazing. But the first step is trust, because when someone doesn't take the message, I think to myself, well, they must not trust that this really is what they're saying it is and what spirit's confirming it is. Because if they trusted that, then they would take the guidance along with it. And I would take it in my little backpack, my spiritual backpack, and run. But they're like, nope, I don't want to. They're like, patience, focus on myself. No. That is key. It's not like, do this. It's do this and things will actually happen. You know what I mean? So I feel like I wish that people could get that message more. It took me a long time to get that message about my own life. Of action is not always, it's not, action and seeing things happen in the physical is not always where it's at. It's about that spiritual growth and really from the inside out growing and seeing what you're called, it's like this vision of what you came here to do becomes clearer and clearer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never about another person. It's never about another person. It's always about you and your connection to source.
Well,
Other
anything.
people can play parts in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can have soulmates, twin flames. They awaken you. They teach you to love yourself. But that's what they teach you to do, is love yourself.
Right, right. And things can change. Things change, all the time. And if you are not ready, you know what I mean? Like, what if you get like the perfect relationship that you want and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it changes, and then what? And you're lost again. But if you find yourself, no matter who comes and goes, you're not going to lose yourself over and over again, based on like other, based on outside things, I guess you could call it. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the thing. And you so identified that from what you saw from the peyote ceremonies and what was lacking in real life with those connections. And it's the same thing for somebody. The twin connection, just like any other, it awakens you to the fact that something's missing within you. And it's not going to come from any other person, though. It's going to come from you actually identifying that what's missing is your connection to yourself and your connection to source. You're disconnected.
Yeah. Spirit flows. Yeah, go ahead. Finish.
No, that's it. I mean, that's it. You ping it, add to it.
Yeah. Spirit flows when you open yourself up to become a channel for grace. That is why I call my channel for grace. That's like my whole thing. It's like spirit will flow through you if you open yourself up. If you like, to close yourself off is to have those like lack mentality, limiting beliefs, always feeling like you can't change your destiny because you can create anything you've ever wanted in your life. You can manifest anything. You can make it happen. It's all about like mindset. It's all about connecting to the understanding your emotional guiding system, like what means yes, what means no, listening to your intuition, like what is my intuition? This is intuition. Okay. Let's listen to that. And if you're so feeling disconnected, feeling like your life isn't going where you want it to go, the only thing is like you just need to like remove the block. Remove the block, open yourself up, let spirit flow through you, and you will receive all of the guidance that you've ever freaking needed, ever. You will be guided.
I love that, and that's so true, Jai. I want to touch on something you just said and ask you a question about it. You were mentioning intuition, and it reminded me of something that a client said to me. They were talking about their intuition, and she said, I thought my intuition was telling me to do this because it made me very excited. And that was a red flag for me. I said, for me, intuition is not an emotional up and down. It doesn't give you an emotional click. It's just a very quiet and calm inner click, a knowing. How would you describe when you were saying like, that's my intuition? Oh, is that it? What would you describe your intuition? What does it feel like?
It's funny. Somebody just asked that question on the chat too. So perfect timing. Well, intuition is, it can be many things. It can manifest in many things. We can think of it in many different ways, but really what it is you receiving messages that come to you. And when they come to you, it's a very deep process of understanding. It's a knowing without understanding exactly where that knowing is coming from, but it's like a very deep knowing. I think that what you're referring to with like someone getting like excited about something, there's a thing called your emotional guiding system. If anybody listens to Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks and the law of attraction and those kind of things, it's important to mention that because I think there's a really important connection between the two. Intuition presents itself in different ways. Like intuition is also part of your psychic abilities that you can actually grow or cultivate, right? You might receive intuition in the form of pictures or thoughts. You might receive messages. We could call intuition messages, right? You might receive those deep gut feelings by sensing your emotions, by like getting a feeling about something. You might receive it by, it's like the clairaudience, which you'll hear something, for example, like a song will start playing in the car and it's like the exact song that you needed to hear, or it's the
Right.
song that takes you back to a moment in time that's significant for you to understand in this moment. That's like clairaudience. Or you're overhearing someone's conversations, and what they were saying, it's like you needed to hear, and like how were you there at the same exact time that that person was saying that? That's like, it's not coincidence. It's like that
Right.
spirit speaking to you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's that part of intuition. It's like receiving the messages and interpreting messages. And then there's your emotional guiding system, which is more of the things that guide you towards what you're choosing to manifest or like magnetize towards
Right.
yourself. Because and you can gauge, because when you're in like a spiritual space of understanding, you will most likely, people who are in like this space, they're happy beings. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
generally happy. They see the joy, they can recognize the joy in others. They don't need like specifically like outside validation or anything like that. They're in a joyful, blissful place. And when you think of something, for example, say you want to create something, you have a project you're working on, and you think of, okay, should the project be about this or should it be about this? And when you think about the one thing, it's like all of your body just like, you get the chills or something, and you're just like, oh my God, I like something. It's like it creates like some kind of physical reaction to it that just
Mm-hmm.
like that, and you feel this like amazingness coming when you think about that. Well, that's your intuition through your feelings showing you like, go this way.
Right.
When you think of something, and like the thought that you have or the feeling that you get is like, oh, I'm not sure, or there a little bit of fear kind of pops up, or anger, like the lower vibrational emotions, which are like anger, hate, things like that. Though that means you're moving away from your center.
Yes.
Like
And
you're,
I think,
yeah.
but don't you think that there, it's kind of like you were saying about your emotional guiding system. So it's sort of important to recognize, just because something makes you feel emotionally up or down doesn't mean that it's an intuitive truth, that it's a
Yeah.
truth that your intuition is recognizing.
Yeah,
So to
because what's the belief system behind what's
right.
going on there? That you have to know that before you react to situations, right? Does it get you excited because it's actually buying into the belief system that you like, that you need this, when the reality is that you don't need this, kind of a thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yes.
it's like a recognition. It's like it's being unaware versus being aware, because you can
Mm-hmm.
have emotions like that, and you could be like, well, honestly, like I know that that's not really for me, that's not really the path that I need to go, and I need to learn to discipline myself, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
towards going the
Totally.
path that is really mine, not the path that I think I want, that my ego wants, right?
Yeah, the ego can get in the way
Yeah.
very quickly and very easily, no matter where you're at in your spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad that we mentioned the intuition. That brings me to really the last thing I wanted to touch on with you, which is
Mm-hmm.
Jai is doing intuitive readings on YouTube now.
Mm-hmm.
So Channel for Grace, guys, if you're just popping in, subscribe to her channel, Channel for Grace. And she's really, listen, people used to tell me when I first started my channel, wow, the cards really love you. I can say the same
Mm.
thing for her. The cards love her. They come out very much deliberately with her, and her intuition is amazing. You guys will get so much. I've just been watching your all sign readings, where you just pull like an oracle card and one tarot or whatever you've been pulling
Mm-hmm.
for every sign. And for Virgo, whoa, it's been on point. I mean, it has been
Yeah.
on point. And your intuition, the messages you get from the card, I would never have gotten that message from the cards. I would have gotten something totally different, both
Mm-hmm.
equally valid, but
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
grateful that you're doing this, because it's so, so helpful and so healing. And I see this is going to be really great. And you guys are going to love her channel and her readings. So definitely take advantage of this, this coming into your consciousness, and subscribe to her channel, and watch out for her readings. They're really good. They're
Thanks.
really good, guys.
Yeah,
So.
it was like when I watch different tarot readers, you know, they're out there on YouTube, and I see like your focus is more on like relationships and soulmates and twin flames, and I see that, and it's like when I think of doing readings, it's like for me the focusing on the self, like the spiritual evolution of the human, is so important to me, because that has been my path. Like that's the
Yeah.
path. So that's what inspires me. And when I do readings from that like energy, from that perspective, it's like they are so much more powerful than if I try to do readings in a way that someone else is doing them. It's like
Yep.
it just doesn't fit, right? And so
It's
I've
so
had
funny.
to, yeah.
It's so funny you say that, because I can relate to exactly what you're saying. And I've had an astrological chart reading done recently, and my apparently like where my north node is and everything. I came here this time around to learn to work in relationship. That's like, yeah, it's like that's just what it is. And because I've never been great at that in the past. I like doing things my way on a sort of a solitary journey. But apparently that's the big thing for me, is to learn to do things in relationships. So I think it's a little ironic and not at all coincidental that I focus on the love stuff and the relationship readings. Whereas I think what you're doing is just really great. I'm excited about it. So
It's like a whole
really good stuff.
new, yeah, it's like a whole new way, I feel like, of looking at it. So I don't know, it just inspires me, makes me feel good, and I'm just gonna keep exploring that, and
Do
going
it.
with the flow. And yeah, so I'm planning on,
It's
so I'm going live every day, and then on the weekends I'll go live and do like a weekend reading, and then eventually I'll do like more extensive readings for all the signs. But it's been super, super fun so far.
I'm excited for you and I also to get intuitive hits together. We've never
Yes.
really done that. I mean, I've come into your scopes when you're doing intuitive readings, and I'll, add my 2 cents. But I think it'll be fun for you and I to get intuitive hits on the same thing, readings together in our videos, and see what comes up. I think it'll be really, really healing for people. So I'm looking forward to doing
Yes,
that and
me
to getting
too.
to provide that relief to people.
Yeah.
So what do you want to ask me? You want to ask me any question? I want to try to get done close to around 8 or not too far after. So we've got a few minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I have a
did,
couple of questions. I know that you mentioned that there's a lot of people that are asking you about like your spiritual awakening, and how, like what was your journey to get you to where you are right now?
yeah. So, I was somebody who always, like I was just saying, I like to do things my way. I'm pretty headstrong, and, you know, always, I was sort of comfortable with my life, just the way it was. But I had all these dreams I had sort of buried deep and put on hold. And I had for a long time run. I always had, like you, I was sort of the one in my family that was sort of weird. I was, very sensitive. I absorbed everyone else's energy around me. And, so that was always the case. But I had always run from, I didn't want to be weird, I grew up and I was gay. I didn't want to be the different one. And so, so I always tried to be the normal one. And in order to do that, I had to pretend. And part of pretending was not to address the fact that I had these sort of psychic gifts or this intuitive, empathic stuff too. And, at 39, I made a friendship that was really special, that we just knew each other. And it was interesting because I had never had a connection like that where we just knew things. It's just, some people go through their life having many connections like that. I had never had one quite like that, where it was so strong, I should say, where you felt like you knew each other. I mean, when you meet somebody that you're friends with or in a relationship with, romantic, otherwise, and you feel like you played with them when you were 2 in diapers, but you didn't, that's weird. That's a weird feeling to kind of like remember something that didn't really happen. So that was strange in and of itself. I had my own issues. I was doing my stuff. And ultimately, that connection we had a big falling out. And it was one more thing. I had done this throughout my life where I would just push people away in relationship and go my own way. And I just thought, I'm not going to do that anymore. It put me into kind of the dark night of the soul. I was awakened by the connection, but the dark night of the soul that I went through, I was having family issues, interfamily problems, and relationship issues. And then that was like the thing where I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to hurt one more person in my life or push one more person away because because I refuse to change or be honest. And so I started making some changes and connecting. I read you a little bit from my book. It was about that feeling of having to be made to be completely alone to realize I was never alone.
Right.
And, that source, you've got that connection to source that's so strong. Anyway, that led me to sort of opening back up to my intuition and opening back up to things and remembering that I was trying to figure out, why is the universe sending a connection into my life where I know when this person's like sick or thing, you know, like I just know things that I shouldn't really know. Why is, like, what's the reason? So I just started researching, and tarot had always been in my orbit. My dad's sister read tarot cards, or had a deck of tarot cards, and so she had taught me about the cards when I was younger. Just, I would be at her house, and so it was interesting to me, but I didn't understand it. Well, I had a deck that she had given me, or somebody had given me a while back, and I got them out last year and started asking questions, because I was trying to just apply what was going on in some of, you know, I'm Virgo, earth energy. I like to tangible. I need things to be tangible. And so that was my way of applying something tangible to a spiritual connection. And I started noticing the cards, well, 100% were coming out like very deliberately with messages. And the intuitive, I started getting really intuitive messages that had nothing to do with what the cards would traditionally mean. And I thought, maybe it's just me. So I took them to work. I worked for my dad's company. I took them to work and offered to do readings for the people around me. And the things that were coming through were shocking people. I actually outed someone. It's just weird stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, things were coming through that shouldn't be. So it put people in just, people were like, what is, like, what?
People start getting freaked out.
Yeah, a little bit. I did. I got a little freaked out by it. And, you know, and people definitely did. But I realized, you know, it was a gift. It was just part of opening up to my gift, that I knew what I wasn't even looking at the cards anymore. It was like this thing would happen where I would lay the cards out, and I knew what the cards were. So I had to see the card to know what it was. But then all of a sudden it would be like, this thing would, like, my vision would shift and go into like a corner and like go into blurry mode. Like, my focus would go away, and all of a sudden the cards were telling me something. It's just weird stuff happening. So that doesn't happen a lot, though. When typically when I read, I'm looking at the cards, I'm feeling what they're saying to me, the energy in the cards. But that was happening in the beginning, just as sort of this weird way, I think, of the universe showing me, this is not really, you know, you or the card. It's spirit in charge of this. So I could tell it was divinely guided, and I just gave into it. And you saw, you know, like I said to you earlier, when you stop fighting the universe, good things happen. That's been my experience. So
will you tell us about, like, this, you know, your YouTube channel, just kind of like, I remember when you started doing readings on YouTube, and then you were like, oh my God, it's exploding. Oh my God. And then you like had to go through this like huge transition. Can you talk a little bit about how that was for you?
The transition or the exploding?
Both. I mean,
both. Yeah.
It was
kind of surreal. It was kind of surreal because people kept telling me in my daily life, they were like, your sister told me, she said last summer, like in July, she was like, I just see this wave, you know, she's very intuitive. She said, I see this wave of abundance coming in for you. And like a year from now, you're going to be like, how did I even get here? And that was right before I started the channel. You know, I was an hourly employee at my dad's company, and I loved working there. I loved the people there. It's like a big family, but I started the channel under duress. I didn't want to do it. I told you and Dawn and Chandra that I had a big hang up about charging for something that you're charging people for, a gift that is a spiritual gift to do the work. I had an issue with that. I didn't like the idea of putting a price to that. It felt somehow wrong to me. And it was about my own relationship with money and capitalism and all that. But, you know, Dawn really explained it so well about, you know, even in the Native American tribes, that, you know, when you went for healing, you had to make an offering. There has to be an exchange of energy for it to be valid, and done properly. And that really resonated with me. Because I had said, you know, I know that I'm equally, as, I don't want to sound, it's not an arrogant thing, because when something's a gift, it's not anything I did to be able to do this. So it's definitely not an arrogant thing. But I did know, watching YouTube readers, I knew that I was as gifted or more than 99% of the people doing this. And I wasn't comfortable charging for it, though. But once I got over that, and I gave into the pressure to start the channel, you know, it's funny, I started the channel after the name Ray of Light Tarot came to me, but somebody at work said to me, they were like, 2 weeks later, they're like, I saw you started that channel like you said you would, but there's no videos. There's no videos on it. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, I'm scared.
That's funny. How did that name come to you? I wanted to ask.
So I had been going over names for the channel, because I just could feel this was going to be something very special if I gave in and did it. So I was trying to really take time to think of the name of the channel and everything. And I couldn't figure out what to name the channel. Like people were giving me ideas, Jason's whatever, and Jason the Healer, because the name Jason is Greek and it means healer. So Jason the Healer Tarot, whatever. And I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. So I went out into the yard and did some grounding, took off my shoes and just sat in the yard and ran the grass through my toes. And I said, give me the sign of what I need to name the channel. That's the intention here. You're going to show me what I need to name the channel tonight. And I got inside, and like 10 minutes later, I was walking down the hallway and I could hear that song, that Madonna song, Ray of Light, playing. And I feel like I just got home and I feel, that Ray of Light song by Madonna.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's Ray of Light Tarot. That's the channel.
Nice. Love that.
And so, so that was the name. That's how it came to me. I just knew that was it.
Name.
But I did not anticipate that my new name would be Ray. Everyone calls me Ray now. I'm like, my name is not Ray. My name is Jason. I get Hi Ray all the time now. It's okay. It's a good name, I guess. But it was very overwhelming, Jai. I didn't want to start doing the videos. I was scared. And I was off work one Friday and I was trying to take a nap and I couldn't fall asleep, even though I knew I was exhausted. And I didn't hear audibly, but I felt audibly a voice say to me, we will let you sleep if you get up and do one video and upload one video. And I got up and I uploaded one video and they let me sleep. And then the same thing happened the next night and the next night. And then I finally just gave in and, you saw how it exploded. It was just I don't know how that happens. I'd never advertised the channel. I never hashtagged anything. It was the universe. It was the universe. That was in charge. It was definitely a higher calling thing. So I'm really grateful though. Mm-hmm. And when people tell me they're scared to start something, I just say to them now, well, then it's never going to start. I mean, like, I was scared too. I get it. I'm not being hard on you. I get the fear. I'm just as much of a chicken as anybody else. Mm-hmm. But if you don't give in and go for what's like the universe is trying to make, you can resist. I was telling someone who's very special to me recently about their spiritual gifts. I said, you can run forever, but it's not going to go away. The call is going to get louder and louder. At some point you have to give in. Mm-hmm. And you can't be afraid. For me now, when I feel fear, it's usually a sign that I need to step into something. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that's such a good way to put it. That's exactly right.
That's a symptom. Like, yep, you need to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like primal fear to save your life or something, right? Like usually it's something you need to go ahead and explore if you're afraid of it, because fear really is an illusion or a symptom that you need to do it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So.
I totally agree with you. And I
feel the same vibration for you, Jai, based on your gifts. I feel that vibration, like the universe is really going to reward you for opening up, because I know, you're very good at the oracle readings. You've got to do the tarot too, because you're going to be gifted at that. That's just, it's going to flow naturally for you, and you're going to see results because and ultimately it's not about you, just like it wasn't about me. It's because you're offering so much healing to people. The truth is flowing through in those cards and in those readings. And it's healing people, and people need healing. They need it. And there's such a need right now as the world as we're transitioning to the new earth. There's such a need for so many people are awakening. They need your guidance and your healing. So I'm really excited that you're doing this.
I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite part about all of it?
Two things. Getting to know people's stories, and it confirms my story, because we all go through doubts of doubting like something, what it is. And when you're not in communication with somebody or whatever, you can just start to think, am I crazy? Did I dream this up? Because I don't think I'm crazy. And so hearing other people's stories has been a great way. It's been a great sustenance for me to keep going on my path, knowing, okay, this is all real. You're not crazy. You aren't going to actually, the end result is not you ending up in a sanitarium. You're doing the right thing. And also something that I'd never done in my life was, once I became okay with the idea of being paid to do this, I had never in my life had a job where I was helping people, felt good helping people, and got paid, and it paid the bills to do it. That's the most rewarding thing. I think that's the pinnacle for all of us. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the president of the United States or the head of the United Nations, whatever. You don't have to be a heart surgeon. But if you're doing something that is allowing you to have abundance in your life, financially, stability, and it's also something that is helping people, that's the best feeling on the planet. I never knew what that was like to do something that actually pays me and I'm helping people. And that's been such a reward for me. I'm so grateful. Like I am so grateful for that. I can't tell you.
That's
Really
amazing.
grateful.
That's amazing. And you are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, thank you. I never would, and that's another thing, guys. Don't limit yourself with your belief systems. To me, a year ago, the idea of reading tarot, and that I couldn't have connected that tarot is healing energy work and that it heals people and helps people. To me, I never would have made the connection. It's amazing work, and don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box, and don't limit what you can do and what can be the thing that helps you get on your path.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's it. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this, Jai. I'm so excited for you.
Me
I know,
too.
you have been such a great, support to me early on in my journey. And I'm so glad we came into each other's lives. We do Purium. Jai and I did a 40-day cleanse with her. I've told you guys about the Purium products before. She does that. She's a brand partner for them as well. So that's another place we have a connection that we're really, has been great. So it's just all good stuff.
Yeah. And I'm excited for, from here on out, like working together here
Me too.
on our channels. So the flow is going to be, we're going to go live on your channel one week and then on my channel the next week. And we're just going to keep alternating like that.
Okay. Yeah. Similar to what Chandra and I did with the Magic Playground, and we'll continue to. I'm still doing the Magic Playground with her sister Chandra, guys, and maybe Jai can come in on that sometime too, because Magic Playground, we wanted to bring people on to do things. I can't wait, Jai. I can't wait for everyone who's here that finds out about you to hear you sing and to see how great your readings are. I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really good.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. We'll see you guys again soon.
Thanks.